Hey everybody, Clayton here at etrailer.com. Here at eTrailer, we install, test, and review a lot of different products to help you as a customer make a more educated decision before your purchase. Today, we're going to be working on a 2017 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 3500. We're going to be taking a look at, and I'll be showing you how to install the Pace Performance High 5 truck cab lights. Adding cab lights to the roof of your truck, or in this case it is an RV, is going to make it look a lot more muscular and big and broad. Now, on something of this size, it is required to have these, but if you're putting them on a regular truck, it's just going to make it look big, broad, like I said, give it that big rig appearance. It's going to look really nice on the roof here. Whenever you replace these, it's going to give it a freshened up look if you don't already have them. Now, this is pretty cool because we can use LEDs or incandescents. In this case, we're using LED because that's what our customer wanted. But they're going to look good either way, and this amber color is very sharp. These are going to be a universal fit, so that's going to be really nice because it's going to work with a lot of different vehicles. Now, if you are replacing your stock cab lights, you do want to make sure that these measurements line up with what you have. We do have a few different size options here at eTrailer as well. A cool feature of this kit is you can actually wire these up to a toggle switch. That toggle switch is actually going to be included, so you're not going to have to hunt one of those down. That's going to be really nice if you don't want these running off of strictly your headlight or taillight signal. We do have ours wired directly to our headlights, so whenever we turn those on, our cab lights are going to come on. Our kit is going to include everything we need to get it installed, except for our silicone, so you will have to pick some of that up from your local hardware store. But other than that, everything is going to be in there. Now, in terms of installation, getting these installed isn't bad at all. The hardest part is being up on the roof. Definitely suggest having an extra person with you, just to watch the ladder or anything like that. To begin our installation, we want to remove our old lights. Now, our old housings are two pieces. They're going to be epoxied together right at the seal. So we're just going to take a pocket knife or a utility knife, kind of cut along that seal. That way we can pry that lens off. We're then going to take a flat blade screwdriver. We're going to go in on that seal, just kind of pry up. We'll work our way around that lens cap, carefully prying up until we can get it to come off. Just like so. Now for our vehicle in particular, our screws are going to be under this lens cap, but depending on what you have at home, your screws might be on the top, so this step might not be necessary. And if you do have screws on the top, all you're going to do is trim around this base and then pull it off the way we just did. But now, since our screws are here, we're going to remove these screws using a Phillips head, and then we're going to remove that base. And once you get these screws removed, you want to make sure to set them somewhere safe. That way we're not going to lose them. Now that we have those screws removed, we need to cut along that silicone lining around our base. Again, we'll just use that utility knife. This is going to pry up the same way that our lens cap did. Now, depending on what you have at home, there's a good chance you're going to have this silicone around the base. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take our razor blade, kind of trim all this back. That way we have a really good mating surface. When you're doing this, you want to be careful not to cut your wiring. We now want to grab our base and our red wire with this spring on it. We're going to take this and slide it through the socket in our housing. And we're going to pull that out of our grommet here at the bottom. Pull that through. You want to make sure that that spring end goes all the way into that housing. What we're actually going to do is take that red wire and just pull it forward. That way it lines up with our white ground wire. Now we want to grab our wire strippers. We're going to strip back this end. Do that on our red and our white wire. We then want to grab a blue heat shrink butt connector. I really suggest using these just because these will be outside in the elements, and we want to keep all of our wiring protected. So we're going to slide that onto our white wire and crimp it down. Do that same thing for our red wire. We then want to grab our black wire. This is going to be our power wire, and it may vary with whatever motorhome you have at home, but you can always test that by turning the lights on and using a test light that you can find here at eTrailer. So we're going to cut that black wire. I'm going to cut it up by our housing. You want to make sure to hold on to this so it doesn't drop back into your roof. We'll strip that back. We're going to be adding this to the red wire on our housing. Again, make sure to hold on to that. Just crimp it down. We'll repeat that same process for our white wire. Now we want to grab our heat gun and just shrink down our butt connectors. Now we're going to grab some electrical tape and just wrap this around our butt connectors. You can find electrical tape here at eTrailer. Now we want to push our wiring back down into our roof. You want to make sure that you have this foam gasket on here. So we'll just start by pushing that down. Once we get that pushed down, we then want to line the holes up with our base and then our foam gasket and the holes in our roof. Our holes line up perfectly in this case, so we'll be adding the same hardware. But if your holes do not line up, your kit is going to come with new hardware. You can just drill into your roof and get that lined up with the holes here, or if your RV didn't already have cab lights. Now, if you don't have cab lights, you will need to pull down your headliner and make sure that there's not going to be any interference when you do add your hardware. We're now ready to install our light bulb. Our customer wanted to go with LED, but luckily our kit does come with LED and incandescent, so you can do whatever you prefer. Now when we install these, there's going to be a little notch here on the end. We're going to take that bulb, slide it into that housing, then we're going to turn that to lock it in. Just like so. You then want to grab the gasket that goes inside of our light housing. We're going to lay that down, and then we'll grab that cover. Just want to line it up on all of our sides. We can grab our provided bolt to screw down our lens. Now you want to make sure that you do all of this by hand. Since it is plastic, we don't want to over tighten it and risk breaking anything. Like that'll do just fine. It's nice and snug. Now as far as getting this installed, we are totally done there. However, we do need to come back and seal these. I went ahead and installed the rest of our lights, but now would be a good time to go ahead and do that. And once you're done, you can grab some clear silicone. We're just going to run a bead of that around our lens cap here, and then around the base, ensuring a good seal. Like I said, we're going to run a bead around the outside of that lens cap and the bottom of that foam. And we'll come back with our finger and kind of work that into place, making sure we're not missing any spots. We'll let that sit for a little while, and then we can test it out. And with all 5 of our lights working properly, we know we're ready to hit the road. That's going to do it for our look at and our installation of Pacer Performance's High 5 truck cab lights.